Good evening. We are group number 13 and we are going to present performance of the balance of payment in the world. This is our table of content. Balance of payment is a statement of all transactions made between worldwide entities. And also balance of payment consists with three components: current account, capital account, and financial account. A balance of payment should always be balanced. It means the debt and payment side should be same. But in the practical world, most of the time, we can't see balance of payment. Fluctuation of countries' economic policies and exchange rate can be reason for the balance of payment imbalance. Uh, when exports are more than imports, balance of payment have a surplus, and when imports are more than export, balance of payment deficit. Uh, when when we talk about determinants of balance of payment, money supply, economic growth, reserve asset, export income, import expenditure, exchange rate can be categorized. For instance, when money supply increase, balance of payment imbalance is decreased, and also the relationship between import expenditure and balance of payment imbalance is negative. This balance of payment imbalance makes some short-term and long-term consequences for countries. Normally, most of the countries imports are more than export, so they have more than exports. So there is a full economic growth. But in long term, uh, it have to go into in long term. Uh, have to go into debt to pay for consumption instead of investing. Therefore, countries have to sell its asset like natural resources, land to creditors. Also, countries become net consumers rather than be a producer to world economic output. Instead of that, if have balance of payment surplus, country have enough saving to uh, lead country to buy production in factories by allowing them to hire more people. But in long term, countries are mostly depend on export by encouraging its resident to spend more. So, okay, let's move into the balance of payment of Sri Lanka. This picture show balance of payment fluctuation in recent 6 years, and this table is a explained view of previous image. According to that, in 2019 have a minimum current account deficit among last 6 years. If you're looking at the capital account until 2016, there is a tendency of capital account deficit, but uh, from 2019 we can see increase of capital account balance. So in 2014 financial accounts in so minimum deficit balance, but 2015 to 17 it was stabilized. uh, but from 2018 we can see some fluctuations in balance. So furthermore, if we talk about balance of payment position of last 6 years, we identify some details regarding following question. Short-term impacts due to change of balance of payment. In the medium to long run, maintain the current account deficit at a sustainable level as well as building external buffers are utmost importance in order to ensure the long-term stability of the external sector. Long-term impact due to the change of balance of payment. The foreign financing requirement will also increase if there are spillover effect of running significantly large uh, financial deficit. Action that the country has taken to overcome this issue. The government continue to focus on greater trade integration and enhancement in the institutionalized uh, support for trade facilitation and export promotion. Measures were taken to furthermore enhance the utilization of existing bilateral trade agreement, considering relatively low trade volume under the TA. Uh, Measures were taken by government to implement trade-related proposal of the budget 2019 while restricting the import of selected items to protect domestic farmers and industries. Uh, okay, let's talk about current situation. When we're talking about current situation of balance of payment in 2019, we can see 1086 deficit of balance of payment, and also countries facing a huge trade deficit and foreign debt problem. According to Costway, there is a no role in borrowing, uh, but the problem is how we use them. Therefore, we must urgently address the budget deficit and current account deficit. Uh, so, to furthermore discuss about balance of payment, I invite to Funsara.
Thank you, Shashid. From here onwards, I am going to talk about world situation of balance of payment. According to the World Population Review, developed country is a sovereign state with an enveloped economy and technologically advanced infrastructures compared to other nations. And developing countries are the countries which have a low GDP per capita and mostly based on agriculture industry. Further, Scott defined emerging countries as shown in the slide. Uh, Following table shows some of examples for developed countries BOP amounts. In 2019, USA had the US dollars 790 billion deficit and Australia had the US dollars 5.43 billion BOP surplus, and UK also had the deficit. Now, we are going to talk about determinants of BOP in developed countries. First one is inflation rate. Inflation rate relatively affect in negatively affect on the BOP. So BOP may deteriorate because domestic inflation stimulates import spending, given that imports appear relatively cheaper and decrease the export sales as exports appear more expensive abroad. That's why there is a negative effect. When talk about advantages of a high inflation rate, first one is moderate inflation enables adjustment of wages. Inflation makes it easier to adjust relative wages. As an example, it may be difficult to cut nominal wages, but if average wages are rising due to inflation rate, then it is easier to increase the wages of productive workers. When talk about cons of inflation rate, first con is inflation can make economy uncompetitive. For an example, a relative higher rate in Italy can make Italian exports competitive that results in current account deficit and lower economic growth. Second one is economic growth. Higher rate of economic growth will cause higher level of consumer spending, which will tend to cause a deficit in the current account. As you can see in the slide, there are pros and cons for this determinant. Third one is exchange rate. Depreciation of exchange rate creates surplus in current account and appreciation creates a deficit. Advantage of this high value of currency forces domestic producers to improve their efficiency to be more competitive in international markets. Now let's discuss about the mechanisms used to overcome BOP imbalances. First mechanism that developed countries use to overcome BOP imbalance is exchange rate adjustment mechanism. The exchange rate process works in countries using floating as their exchange rate regime. The current account deficit leads to currency depreciation, which restores external competitiveness of the country's export, and its increase decreases in the current account deficit. In short run, this mechanism sustains within the economy. But in long run, there is a higher interest payment for borrowings and create more future deficits in current accounts. Second adjustment that using price adjustment mechanism. Using this method trade imbalances can self-correct. Finally, increase interest rate then capital inflows cut economic growth. In here also we can see pros and cons. And other one is income adjustment mechanism. A decrease in exports causes income to decrease within the domestic economy, which leads to a decrease in imports. As a result of that, current account balance restart from deficit. In here also, we can see pros and cons in slide. Now we are going to talk about the situation of developing countries, BOP. This table shows some examples for developing countries and their BOP amounts. According to that, Argentina and Brazil have BOP deficit and China has a BOP surplus in 2019. Then let's talk about the determinants of BOP in developing countries. First one is insufficiency of export earnings to imports. Developing countries have made huge imports from advanced countries to implement their development programs, but they can't make that amount of export to finance their imports. Therefore, imports higher than export. That results to create deficit in BOP. In here, give signal for some domestic policies. As an example, if amounts spent on imports are highly, make policies restricting the imports. Cons is trade deficit is neither inherently entirely good nor bad. And second one is foreign debt. This will negatively impact to the BOP in repayment of debts because they are borrowing from abroad to finance their deficit. So they must increase their exports to repay borrowings. Pros is redistribution of money in economy, and cons we can identify as a financial difficulties with high interest rate. Another one is demonstrate effect. Demonstration effect is another important factor causing deficit in BOP. It negatively impacts to the BOP by desire to develop countries' consumption patterns. In this slide, you can see pros and cons. Further, highlight high population growth and political stability also determinants of BOP. When it comes to the mechanism, monetary policy is used by developing countries. In here, adopt deflationary money supply, money policy by raising the bank rate, and deflationary money policy by raising the bank rate and restricting the credit when having BOP deficit. This eventually leads to a rise in exports and a fall in imports. And you can see the pros and cons in slide. Second one is other mechanism, that is exchange rate depreciation. Exchange depreciation helps in correcting a mild adverse balance of payments. This stimulates exports by making the domestic goods cheaper to the foreigners, thereby leading to favorable balances. In here also, there are own pros and cons we can see. Third one is import policy. Under this government fixed a maximum quantity or value of commodity to be important. So reduce the deficit in BOP. Other mechanisms are encourage foreign investors and foreign loans. So I would like to invite Tishini to continue this presentation.
Thank you, Punsara. Let's move on the emerging countries. As you can see, these are some examples for emerging countries. Most of time, emerging countries try to avoid the trade balance of payment deficits. Let's see what are the determinants of the balance of payment of emerging countries. First one is foreign debt, in which high foreign debt payment will result in balance of payment deficit. As a process of determinants, foreign debt repayment, foreign debt is a way of allocating of money in the economy, and as a consequence of these determinants, have some financial difficulties when the high interest rate paid by the countries who have uh, who don't have much income. And another determinant is inflation rate. Inflation rate negatively impact on the BOP when have high inflation rate, and process of the determinants. When consider the process of the determinants, moderate level inflation is a signal of the growth economy which growing. And when consider the concept the determinants, high inflation lead to less investment and less export. And the bank credit to private sector is another determinant. When increase the bank credit to private sector, it it facilitates to increase the operation of the companies, and it affect the favorably to the balance of payment and supply of the determinant, uh, and as the concept of the determinants, when increase the supply, when increase the credit bank credit to private sector, it become a more debt to the companies. Then it was a high burden to the companies. Then move to the mechanism to use the overcome of this balance of payment. First one is import substitution policy. In that, government implement the maximum quantity of value to commodity to import. Then reduce the import bill, increase the use of domestic product. As that was the process of that mechanism, and due to the reduce of the supply of product, prices will increase. That was a concept of that mechanism. And another strategy was the trade liberalization implemented by the addressing structural rigid and price stability and macroeconomic imbalances. This strategy was implemented. Process of this mechanism was the create more competitive environment to facilitate increased use of local resources, promote the traditional export. And but from this strategy, number of varieties that can used by the country will reduce. The last strategy is export-oriented policies. In that, reduction of the tariff and abolishing the export duties increase the export scheme. Then process of that mechanism increase in the export, increase the efficiency and stimulate the private investment and increase the foreign exchange earning. But concept of this mechanism is with the increase of foreign direct investment, it has a risk of influence by the foreign government and businesses to the country. Next, move to the next slide. As we discussed, different countries, developing, emerging, and all developed countries use different strategies like interest rate, money supply, exchange rate, inflation, foreign direct investment, increase export competitiveness, and increase increment in export. But increase rate and money supply cannot, and inflation cannot be applied in the Sri Lankan context, because in Sri Lanka, as a developing country, need to have high inflation and interest rate and money supply to achieve high economic development. And also, when consider the exchange rate, Sri Lanka cannot use that because currently also Sri Lankan exchange rate also depreciated. Next, I would like to discuss about the implementation plan of these selected strategies. First one is increase the competitiveness. Then, when to increase the competitiveness, government can implement. First, need to provide the regulation, favorable regulation to domestic businesses, like providing tax reliefs, tax concessions, and providing infrastructure facilities for domestic companies. Then need to provide more training, healthcare, and other welfare facilities to increase the productivity of the domestic companies, and also to increase the foreign direct investment. Government should invite the other countries to come to the country and invest in the Sri Lanka. Let's consider about the impact of those strategies. As the short-term impacts improve the labor productivity by increasing the we will be improving the labor productivity by with the increment of training and other facilities provided by the government, and increase the export competitiveness, because due to the high use of high technology and other facilities provided by the government, also then can expect the economic growth. As the long-term impact high with the providing infrastructure facilities will provide the Sri Lankan economy will achieve the high stability within the country, and with the political driven economic policies able to stabilize the political situation of the country and high cost associated. But with the investment in the foreign direct investment, government unable sometimes will affect the foreign direct foreign influences by the companies and other countries. Let's move to the conclusion part of our presentation. As we discussed, balance of payment was the major element into balance. Then different countries use different methods to manage those balance of payment imbalance. As a Sri Lanka as a developing country need to use strategies to increase the export of the country and manage the balance of payment deficit. Then this is the end of our presentation. These are the references. If you have any question, you can ask. Thank you so much for the attention.
Okay, group number 13. Thank you very much for the presentation. And first of all, I would like to say thank you for the explanation regarding the comparison of developed, developing, and emerging countries. So you make a clear, very comprehensive analytical presentation based on that comparison. Actually, you are using the definition of those three categories of the country and the examples with some figures of the balance of payment and determinants of balance of payment imbalances. I'm really impressed with that kind of very comprehensive analysis you have done during your presentation. You have done a very good job. I'm really appreciate that kind of in-depth analysis in your presentation. Okay, and I much better if you are using the sources of the data you are using, right? If you can reveal the sources, whether it is a World Bank or IMF or Economic Outlook or something, with enclosed with the table you are presented, right? That's the thing as an undergraduate you need to do, right? So we can present whatever the data, but you have to say these are taken from this kind of reliable sources, okay? And so the current situation of the slide, that mean one slide you are presenting like the current situation of BOP in Sri Lanka. So that slide contain too much of the explanation, right? If you go back to that, you can see, right? You have incorporate all the details into the presentation slide, but it's not necessary, right? You just indicate few points and then you can explain. So other thing I like to indicate very specifically, please don't mention that the foreign exchange rate going to be depreciated, right? I think this is a fifth or sixth time I'm explaining to the student, because not the foreign exchange rate getting depreciation, right? It's a currency getting depreciated because of the changes happening in the foreign exchange rates, right? Therefore, please don't get it into the wrong way. There is no depreciation in the exchange rate. It's only applicable for the foreign currency or domestic currency, right? And last, my comment, this is for the enhancement of your ability in the future. I feel the part of your presentation, I feel that you are having lack of practice. That means the preparation wise, I feel that there is some kind of lacking behind your skills, right? So I don't know how many times you practice it as a group or it as an individual, but it is better to have a good practice before you are making the presentation, right? And when you are making the presentation also, try to highlight some important points by using some kind of balancing your tone and making some body language movements and using your hands movement, right? Otherwise you are taking the same presentation in a very form, that mean very same volume of tone, right? So sometime the reader, it's getting some kind of boring if you are not trying to emphasize that these are the important thing of our presentation, right? Those are things you need to be practiced based on the presentation skills, right? I have a little bit worry about your presentation skill, but the content wise, analytical wise, your skill is perfect for me, right? So group number 13, thank you very much for the presentation you have made. You have done a very good job, right? But get practices, improve your presentation skill in your future manner, right? This is not the only presentation you are going to do in your entire lifetime, right? So take it as a positive comment and try to overcome that small barrier in your skills, right? Okay, then, so it's really happy to see you all through this presentation at least, and I wish you all the best for your studies as well as your internship training and whatever you are doing. And at last, once again, thank you very much. You have a pleasant day ahead.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so you can stop sharing the screen.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. We are group number 19. Today we are hoping to focus on discuss about balance of payment. First of all, I would like to introduce our group members. First, Amila De Silva. Next, Hasana Nausar, Dilkini Keshila, Samadini Patirana, and I am Ruwangi Piris. This is the content of our presentation. Balance of payment. Under that topic, components of BOP, importance of BOP, BOP imbalance Sri Lanka, the situation of BOP imbalance in Sri Lanka, determinants of BOP imbalance, consequences of BOP issues, possible strategies to overcome BOP imbalance, suitable strategies to overcome BOP imbalance, rationality for not recommending other strategies, implementation of the recommended strategies, and impact of recommended strategy on BOP equilibrium level. Okay, let's see what is balance of payment. Balance of payment is a statistical statement that summarizes transactions between entities in one country and the rest of the world during the period. It records all the monetary transactions made between residents of a country and the rest of the world during any given period. Actually, it should be zero in perfect condition. This means the inflows and outflows of funds must be balanced. However, this does not happen very well in most cases. Next, there are three elements in balance of payment. Current account. Current accounts measure international trade, net income on investments and direct payments. The current account is used to monitor the inflows and outflows of goods and services between countries. Next, financial account. Financial account describes the changes in international ownership of assets. The financial account measures changes in domestic ownership of foreign assets and foreign ownership of domestic assets. Then capital account. Capital account includes any other financial transactions that don't affect the nation's economic output. All capital transactions between the countries are monitored through the capital account. Next, when it comes to the importance of balance of payment, a country with a large trade deficit is not as likely to import as much as a country with a trade surplus. If there is a large trade deficit, the government may adopt a policy of trade restrictions such as quotas or tariffs. So there is a vital importance of a balance of importance to the country. BOP of a country reveals its financial and economic status. Further BOP statement can be used as an indicator to determine whether the country's currency value is appreciating or depreciating. BOP statement helps the government to decide on fiscal and trade policies. It provides important information to analyze and understand the economic declining of country with other countries. Not only that, it can be forecast business and economic conditions, monitor all international transactions, help in the regulating imports and exports, clarifies foreign exchange position as well. If we look why countries having balance of payment imbalance, while a nation's balance of payments necessarily zeros out the current and capital accounts. However, it does not happen always. The main effect to the BOP imbalance is current accounts. This graph shows the US balance on current account from 1999 to 2017. When it comes to the balance of BOP imbalance, it can be BOP deficit or surplus. Actually, deficit is the country imports more goods, services, and capital than they export. Surplus is the country export more than its imports. Now, I would like to invite Amila to continue the presentation.
Thank you, Ruangi. Thank you, Ruangi. This is about the situation of BOP imbalance in Sri Lanka. According to the Central Bank of Sri Lanka, third quarter of 2020 recorded 250 million USD surplus in Sri Lanka. In 2020, first and second quarter, it was recorded as a deficit. When I move to the BOP position during the last years, this graph shows the BOP position during the last years. When considering last years, most of the time BOP was recorded as a deficit. Begin of 2019 and September of 2020, BOP was recorded as a surplus. These are the determinants of BOP deficit and surplus. First one is economic growth. When there is an increase in national income, people increase their consumption. If domestic production cannot meet that domestic demand, country have to import goods from abroad. Second one is decline in competitiveness. Third one is overvalued exchange rate. That means if the currency is overvalued, imports will be cheaper, and therefore there will be a higher quality of imports. Export will be uncompetitive, and therefore it will be a fall in the quantity of exports. Fourth one is borrowing money and recession in other countries. Last one is higher inflation. Higher inflation means if a country inflation rates faster than their main competitors, then it will make the country exports less competitive and imports more competitive. This will lead to deterioration in the current account. Determinants of the BOP surplus are high incomes abroad, low income at home, weak exchange rate. That means if exports are cheaper, there is more demand for exports and more revenue from exports. If imports are more expensive, there is less demand for imports, and there is less expenditure on imports. That both impacts will lead to a current account surplus. And strong investment and low relative inflation. Low relative inflation mean if a country inflation rate is lower than their major trading partners' economies, that means our exports are more competitive. That can increase demand for exports and revenue from exports. Last one is gains in competitive advantages. When I talk about the effect of above determinants, there are the evidence. During this time period, these countries could be identified as developing countries, developed countries, and emerging countries. Namibia, Bangladesh, and Nigeria as developing countries. China, Germany, Singapore as developed country, and Kuwait and Cambodia as emerging countries. We have to divide consequences as short term and long term. As consequences of surplus, boost economic growth, increase in aggregate demand, can lend the excess savings to other countries. Exporting factories can hire more people, and when countries become too dependent on export-driven growth, residents become to spend more. Further, it reduces unemployment, appreciate exchange rate, increase the aggregate demand. As as deficit consequences, country has to borrow loans for consumption and to pay loans. Country may have to sell its assets to pay its creditors. As example, natural resources and lands. Not only that, it leads to higher unemployment rate, depreciation of exchange rate, and lower economic growth. Now I would like to invite Dilki to continue our presentation.
Thank you, Amila. We have identified some possible strategies to overcome BOP imbalance, such as supply side policy, monetary policy, fiscal policy, expenditure switching policies, lower wages policy, and trade protectionism. From possible strategies, we selected most suitable strategies to overcome BOP imbalance, such as expenditure switching policy, supply side policy, and monetary policy. Now I talk about implementation plan of the recommended strategies. Our first recommended strategy is monetary policy. Tight monetary policy involves increasing interest rate. Tight monetary policy is often used to check aggregate expenditure or demand by raising the cost of bank credit and restricting the availability of credit. For this, bank rate is raised by the central bank of the country, which lead to higher lending rates charged by the commercial banks. Higher interest rates will increase the cost of debt and mortgage repayment. Therefore, this will reduce their consumption of imports, improving the current account. But when a developing country like Sri Lanka is experiencing slowdown in economic growth, along with deficit in balance of payment, use of tight monetary policy that reduce demand will not help much, as it will adversely affect economic growth and deepen economic recession. Therefore, in a developing country, monetary policy has to be used along with other policies such as appropriate supply side policies and expenditure switching policies to tackle the problem of disequilibrium in the balance of payment. Our second strategy is supply side policies. These are government attempt to increase producing and increase efficiency in the economy. When this is successful, they will shift aggregate supply to the right and enable higher in long run. Under supply side policy, government reducing direct tax rates, including income and corporate tax, improve flexible labor market through the removal of restrictive practice and labor market prejudices, it promoting competition by encouraging an dynamic market entrance, and it encourage firms to use new technology and innovate. To achieve all objectives simultaneously, it is essential to improve the supply side of the economy. If the government can increase productivity and shift aggregate supply to the right, it can enable low inflationary growth and help improve the general competitiveness of the economy. Lastly, we suggest expenditure side policies. This involves reducing the value of the currency against others. Expenditure policies may lower the prices of exports, which will encourage export of a country. The price of imported goods increase by making domestically produced goods relatively cheaper. Therefore, the quantity demand of imports fall and exports will become cheaper, and therefore quantity of exports increases. In this way, by changing relative prices, expenditure switching policies help in correcting this equilibrium in balance of payment. When it's come to impact of when it's come to rationality for not recommending other strategies, fiscal policy. Fiscal policy involves increased income tax. It will more effect on price and reduce economic growth. also discouraging people from investing and working. Further, it is not easy to reduce substantially government expenditure and impose heavy taxes, as they are likely to affect incentives to work and invest and invite public process. Therefore, we see that correcting the balance of payment through contractionary fixed policy is not an easy way. Lower wages policy. This policy unable to devalue within single currency. Lower wages will reduce cost of production and improve competitiveness. But lower wages will also lead to lower aggregate demand and could lead to deflation and low economic growth. Trade protectionism. In here, impose restriction on import products and it will cause for demand for domestic product and also increase export as well. But in the long term, trade protectionism weakens the industry. Without competition, companies within the industry do not need to innovate. Eventually, the domestic product will decline in quality and more expensive than foreign competitive products. When it comes to impact of recommended strategies, supply side policy. In short term, rising productivity will cause outward shift and aggregate supply. In long term, supply side policies such as reduction of company tax will reduce national service and raise interest rate. Under expenditure switching policies, short term, it is not easy to reduce substantially government expenditure and impose heavy taxes, as they are likely to affect incentive to the work and invite public protest and opposition. In long term, developing countries' tight monetary policy adversely affect investment increase in which necessary for accelerating economic growth. Under monetary policy, in short term, the more a country export, the more domestic economic activity is occurring. More export means more production, more jobs, and higher revenue. In long term, growing export sales provide revenue and profits for business, which can then feed through an increase in capital investment spending through the accelerator effect. Higher investment increase the country's productive capacity, which then increase the potential for exports. This concludes our presentation. Thank you very much.
Okay, group number 19, thank you very much for the presentation. First of all, I would like to say well, time management, you are perfectly managed your 20 minutes and you explain more the content, most of the content we are expecting you to do in your presentation. Right, shall we go back to your slide number 1, please? Right, so this is only for to improve your graduate quality, right? When you are referring some sources, it's better to use year, right? In which year you are referring International Monetary Fund. This is from the 2001, 2010 or 2020, right? It is better to have the proper citation, though you are following independent study as your main course, okay? And then go back to the slide number 7. Previous one. One more up. This is 9th slide and this is 8. Next, previous one. Right, here also, right, you are using some kind of figures from the balance on current account, right? So it is better to use source, right? We don't know where you extract these figures, right? It is always, if you are using third-party document or third-party information, as a graduate, as an undergraduate, you have to reveal the proper source, right? I'm always telling the student, because now you are going with the career world, right? Those are very, we call this as ethics, right? You have to reveal where you refer those documents, refer those details, okay? So it's same thing happening in the slide number 10, okay? And I did not see the country comparison with the determinants of your presentation, but you are making some kind of comparison with the developing and emerging nation. But unfortunately, I did not catch up with the difference of developing and emerging nation with respect to the determinants of balance of payment imbalances, right? I think you are missing that part, right? And in here, you have prepared some table regarding the country's cost BOP deficits, something, some kind of title. Yes, the previous one, please. Yeah, the determinants. Can someone explain me within very short time, okay, how recession in other countries cost BOP deficit? What is the explanation behind that point? Recession in other countries. Yes, anyone? Because that's the point you have already mentioned in your slide.
Miss, please mention the question again.
My question is, Pute, why you mention, how you mention recession in other countries cause to have a balance of payment deficit?
Miss, because of economic growth, decline the competitiveness, borrowing money.
What do you mean by the recession in other countries? Yes. What is the meaning for the recession in other countries to you? So please remember that presentation doesn't mean that once you prepare the slide and do the presentation based on slide, right? You need to have ability to defend yourself what you present in your slides, right? Now you are the person who prepare the slide. I'm not the person responsible to the preparation of the slide, right? I'm asking the point that I am not clear. So then you need to have a very thorough knowledge regarding the points you incorporate into your slides. Right? Otherwise, it's better to not incorporate the points that you are uncomfortable to make the explanation. Okay, please learn those points, right? I'm not expecting only the theoretical knowledge observation from your presentation. I'm referring your communication skill, your analytical skills, as well as your defending skill, right? Those are very important when you are going with the career world in very recently, right? So please kindly remember that point. And my last comment for the improvement of your presentation skill, right? Try to minimize the reading slides, right? I'm seeking that behavior throughout some of the presenters, right? So try to minimize that reading slide, because that's not what we are expecting from the presentation. Okay, it's good for the first year, second year student, but it is not suit for the final year student like you, right? You have to be prepared. Okay, you have to be prepared and you have to be present with the very confident in your manner, right? But I'm not seeing 100% confident in your group, and you are not thoroughly go through with the presentation slide what you have already prepared. Okay, anyway, you have make a good analytical presentation. That means your analytical skill is good, right? You try to give some comprehensive picture for the assignment. I'm really happy about that. But those comments I given you to improve your presentation skill as well as your other skills in the future manner. Okay, group number 19, thank you very much for joining with us today and making your presentation in a very successful way, right? Except that few limitations, but your slide quality also good, very attractive, very neat. I need to appreciate that thing, right? And wish you all the best, group number 19, for your future. And thank you very much for joining with us again. And I'm really happy to see your faces, even in this kind of platform. Wish you all the best. Thank you very much once again.
Good evening. We are group number 23. So our presentation based on the balance of payment facing by payment issue facing by Sri Lankan government. So these are our group members. This is our content of this presentation. So first of all, I would like to explain what is balance of payment. Balance of, according to Wilkinson, it is a statement of all transactions made between entities in one country and the rest of the world over a defined period of time, such as quarter or a year. So this records all international financial transactions made by the resident of a country. These transactions consist of imports and exports of goods, services, and capital, as well as transfer payment such as foreign aid and remittance. So this indicate countries' relative level of economic wealth and future stability. Okay. So we can identify mainly three components of BOP: current account, capital account, and financial account. The current account and capital account are the primary component of BOP. Okay. So here we can see the balance of payment analytical figure for the year. First, I move to current account. We can identify the main components under this. The current account represent the value of imports and exports of both goods and services and the international transfers of capital. So we can identify the national net income. A current account surplus will indicate the value of country's net foreign assets grew over the period, and deficit indicate that it shrank. We call this as current account because goods and services are generally consumed in the current period. Okay. Next, I move to capital account. Capital account records the net flow of investment transaction into an economy. So we can identify the net change in ownership of national assets. Change in the capital account will indicate how attractive a country is to foreign investors and can have a substantial impact on exchange rate. Okay. Now I move to financial account. The financial account represents the increase and decrease in international ownership of assets. This consists both domestic ownership of foreign assets such as foreign bank deposits and securities in foreign companies, and foreign ownership of domestic assets such as purchase of government bonds by foreign entities, or loans provided to domestic banks by foreign institutions. Okay. This is the current situation of BOP imbalances of Sri Lanka. We can see Sri Lankan recorded the trade deficit of 562.10 US million in December of 2020. Due to cease of Sri Lankan tourism receipts, domestic spending power has reduced, and government has become a net repayer of foreign loans, reducing imports despite money printing, most of which has flowed out of financial account rather than trade account with weak credit. Okay, so when considering the reasons for BOP imbalances, there are three factors: financial factors, social factors, and political factors. We can identify under financial factors development activities, high rate of inflation, cyclical fluctuations, change in demand. Under social factors, demonstrations factors, change in tastes, preferences, fashion and trends. Under political factors, political instability, political disturbances. Okay. Now I move to consequences of BOP imbalances. There are some consequences: unsustainable, risk of capital flights, foreign ownership of assets, and indication of an unbalanced economy, and indication of uncompetitive economy, and risk of depreciation. Now I invite to Mr. Chamidu to continue our presentation.
Thank you, Prasan. Let's see the determinants of BOP imbalance of country. First one is wider trade deficit. Second one is recession in export sector. Third one is no growth in high-tech export. Fourth one is policy-related foreign exchange rate. Fifth one is rise in foreign borrowings. Okay. We will see them in more details. First one is wide trade deficit. The foreign trade deficit between export earning and import expenditure has shown a steady growth over the past 5 years. The main reason for this is the decline in export earning. Almost every export sector is showing a decline. Agricultural export earning declined by 7.2%. Industrial export earning by 1.4% and other export earning by 11.5%. Earning from agricultural export of tea, spices, and minor export declined significantly. Okay. Second one is recession in export sector. Exactly 4 decades ago, in 1977, the main objective of liberalization of the Sri Lankan economy was generate export-oriented economic growth. The relatively low wage in Sri Lanka at time greatly helped to attract foreign investment to the garment industry, which required more labor. Sri Lanka also benefited from the fact that many developed countries, including South Asia, had not been economically liberalized at that time. As wage level rose in line with country's economic growth and price inflation, Sri Lanka's competitiveness in labor intensive industry, such as apparel, gradually wanted. Sri Lanka's export sector has also been adversely affected by the adoption of open economic policies by many other countries around the world. Countries such as Bangladesh and Vietnam competed for investment in garment industry. Recently, African countries, when can pay very low wage, have also become more attractive to invest in such labor incentive industry. Okay. Third one is no growth in high-tech export. Although Sri Lanka does not have competitive environment for primary industry Exports such as garment, apparel export still dominate the export sector. According to 50% of total export earnings, as mentioned earlier, the four dragons of Asia, Hong Kong, Singapore, South Korea, and Taiwan, achieved rapid economic growth from early 1990s to early 2015. With advance in the export technology, mobile phones, televisions, and other modern electronics such as development are called technological advancement. As a result, this country has become a high-income industrial country according to the World Economic Classification. According to many human development indicators, Sri Lanka was ahead of those countries 6 decades ago. But Sri Lanka is still at middle income level due to its failure to accelerate economic growth by increasing technology-based exports. Okay. Fourth one is policy related to foreign exchange rate. Contradiction in economic and foreign trade policies pursued by Sri Lanka so have also adversely affected the export sector. In order to maintain the value of the rupee against foreign currencies in handling of export and imports, the exchange rates should be freely determined by foreign exchange transaction. Attempts to keep it up an administrative level will discourage export and encourage imports. This will further weaken trade deficit. Until the middle of 2015, the policy was to keep the exchange rate below $130 levels. The central bank periodically released its foreign reserve into the market, prevent the rupee from depreciating further. As a result, export did not get a competitive price. Import flow in the currently at lower price. Fifth one is rise in foreign borrowings. Sri Lanka's foreign debt problem, which often led to serious balance of payment issues, is more than its massive borrowing from various foreign sources. The root cause of the ongoing crises are found in structural weakness such as contractions of trade, low tax revenue, and lack of foreign direct investment. Failures to provide comprehensive and consistent long-term solution to address such weakness have resulted in the country running into serious BOP crises in every few years. I would like to invite Mr. Hasita to continue the presentation.
I would like to describe about possible strategies to overcome BOP imbalance. We can overcome BOP imbalance by using some strategies. In here, we will explain 4 such strategies. First one is expanding exports and restraining imports. Second one is trade agreements. Third one is currency devaluation. Fifth one is expenditure reducing policy. Let's move to those 4. I'll explain one by one. First one, expanding exports and restraining imports. Government can expand exports by reducing or abolishing export and lowering the intended use of exports. Also, government can decrease excessive imports by imposing or raising tariff on imports of goods, introducing license for imports. Also, government provide subsidies to domestic businesses. Second one is trade agreement is any contractual agreement between states concerning their trade relationships. Trade agreements may be bilateral or multilateral, that is between two states or more than two states. There are agreements lets member countries trade freely with each other while imposing trade barriers or tariff on non-members. Trade agreements may involve cooperative research and development, lower taxes or import duties, and other advantages to member countries. Sri Lanka's current trade agreements only cover trade in goods. Sri Lanka is a member of 2 bilateral agreements with India and Pakistan and 3 regional trade agreements such as South Asian Free Trade Agreement, Asia Pacific Trade Agreement, and Global System of Tariff. Currency devaluation, reducing the value of exchange rate of a national currency with should be rate system, and occasionally its currency is expenditure in balance. To correct it, for this expenditure reducing monetary and fiscal policies are used. A contractionary or tie monetary policy relate to increasing interest rate to reduce money supply, and contractionary fiscal policy relate to reduce reduction in government expenditure and increasing taxes. Reducing policy reduce aggregate demand through higher taxes and interest rate, thereby reducing expenditure and output. The reduction in expenditure and output in domestic price level, switching of expenditure from foreign to domestic goods. Consequently, the country's imports are reduced and the balance of payment deficit will corrected. Okay, now I am going to describe the recommended strategies to overcome BOP imbalances. As we think, more suitable strategy to overcome BOP imbalance is expanding exports and restraining imports. Government can decrease excessive import activities by imposing tariff on imports, and government encourage exports by giving tax benefits to exporters. Also, government can provide subsidy, then they competitively they can act competitively with foreign businesses. The exchange rate of a country will affect to the productivity of imports and exports of the country. Let's move to the rationality of not recommending other strategies. Trade agreements. Trade agreements are very important for a country, but any trade agreement will cause less successful companies to go out of business. They can't come powerful in country. Then second one is currency devaluation. Devaluation is likely to cause inflation. Inflation means a general increase in price and fall in the purchasing value of money because of the imports will be more expensive, or raw material will increase price. Also, it will increase in aggregate demand that cause demandful inflation. The concern in the long term devaluation may lead to lower productivity because of decline incentives. The main effects are exports are cheaper to foreign customers, imports are expensive in short term, that a devaluation tend to cause inflation, higher growth, and increases demand for exports. Our next projecting strategy is expenditure reducing policy. It may take considerable time, perhaps up to 18 months, for monetary policy measure to influence aggregate demand. For example, a change in the rate of interest is likely to immediately influence of consumption and investment plans. Also, a rise in the rate of interest, for example, designed to reduce inflation, may lead to increased unemployment. A rise in interest rate may increase business cost and increase the exchange rate, thus making exports more expensive. Such a rise may therefore particularly discriminate against manufacturing organizations engaged in exporting, as well as borrowers in general. Let's move to the implementation plan. We recommend the strategy of expanding exports and restricting imports, but the results of this strategy will depend on the current country's foreign exchange rate. To reduce imports, government can increase tariff and introduce new rules and regulations of importing activities, start substitutable industries, utilizing local human and physical resources will provide support to decline the import expenditure when facilitating to the growth, and also give government support to local exporters, develop the exports, and also maintain good foreign exchange rate.
See what the long-term and short-term impact of the recommended studies are. First, we move on what are the short-term impact of devaluation of exchange rate to import and export. In short-term, devaluation of the exchange rate will make export more competitive and appear chapter to foreigners. This will increase demand for export. This will reduce the demand for imports. In short term, export demand may be inelastic and there is no improvement in the balance of payment. In long term, this provides a boost for domestic demand and would lead to job creation in export sector and lower the unemployment of country. Higher export and aggregate demand can lead to higher rates of economic growth. And let's move next slide. Okay, these are please move next slide. These are our references, and thank you very much.
Okay, group number 23. thank you for the presentation. You make some effort to get the information regarding this balance of payment determinants, and you give some comprehensive picture regarding that determinants as well as some causes of the Sri Lankan BOP situation, right? I'm really impressed about that kind of analytical skills that you showed during the presentation time. Okay, and I didn't see that comparison of the developing and developed countries based on the determinants of the balance of payment. I don't know why you are not doing that section in your presentation, because it's specifically asked about doing the comparison between developed, developing, and emerging nations determinants, and based on that you can select some kind of strategies or some kind of recommendation regarding the strategies to overcome balance of payment imbalances. Anyway, I'm happy about the presentation, but I'm not 100% satisfied with the way you are making the presentation, right? Throughout the presentation, I feel that there's a lacking of practicing the presentation, right? I don't know how many times you make the presentation practice as a group or it as an individual wise. Okay, so in a future presentation, please try to at least practice 3 times before you are making the formal presentation in front of the audience, right? So it gives more confidence, and you know where to present, and you know the flow of the presentation very well. Okay, and may I know whether you are all group members presenting today, because I couldn't see CPM number 17794. Is it here, right? I just see.
Yes, madam.
Yes, sorry. I couldn't see it previously. I'm really sorry. Okay, then group number 23, since we are running out of time and there is a very bad weather condition all happening around here. So thank you very much, group number 23, for your effort for the presentation, right? Your analytical skill. But remember that you have to improve your skills in the presentation as well as the way you are making the presentation, right? It has a lot to learn from your one. Normally, I publish this presentation into the LMS. Once all the presentation is over, then you can go through again to your presentation and find out what are the mistakes you have done during the presentation time. So it gives some learning point for you to improve your skill. Okay, right. Thank you very much, group number 23. Happy to see you through this presentation, and wish you all the best for your future work. Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you, madam.